Hello and welcome to This is Difficult Gaming Podcast, the show where we talk about video games and other things, but mostly just video games. I'm your host, Paul Ryugami-san. I am here with Adam over here, my brother, returning, the long-awaited return
I
of
love
Adam
that your
to the show.
intro is the same as it was when I left, but like formalized.
Yeah, well, I don't do the intro anymore. We make Zach do the intro, and it's different
No, we
every
make Josh
week.
do it.
Yeah, that's what I meant, Josh. God, I brain fart sometimes. Yeah, we make Josh do the intro. I said Zach because Zach is here and Josh is not. So, and that's our other host, Zach. Another letdown. He's here hanging out, and we're gonna talk about video games and other things, but mostly just video games.
Nice.
How's everything going, guys?
Good. Good. No, not great.
That's an abrupt turn.
Wait,
Yeah.
which one is it? Is it good or not great?
Well, so I have to. I may have to replace my entire toilet. Like, so that sucks.
Yeah, that's real bad.
I was trying to put a bidet on it, and
Of course you were.
And you
Yeah.
broke it?
yeah.
Wow.
Basically, like, so inside there's this copper pipe that goes up like this and into the thing, and I'm screwing it on here, and the pipe like basically got twisted around on the inside.
Oh, so it's because you're an idiot.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck I'm
You get
doing.
him back
in
for
there.
1 week. You can run off again. Call
This
it
is why he
idiot.
left in the first place.
Yeah, that's why.
God damn.
Yeah, no, that is so far outside my realm that I need to not be doing it. But-
Josh says quit pooping so hard.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like a cannon goes off with like a mortar.
Yeah, he pooped so hard that he cross-threaded the tubes when he was installing the thing. Sounds
Yeah.
like Jesus, man. Well, what about non-toilet related activities? Everything good?
Other than that, yes,
All right.
that happened
Cool.
today. So I'm like, I've been pissed for like 4 hours.
Oh, that sucks, man.
Welcome to This is Difficult, where we talk about Adam's bowel movements.
Yeah, no kidding.
No, this is not about my bowel movements. It's about my ineptitude at home repair.
Oh my God. Did you guys play any video games this week?
Yeah.
Yeah. My list is probably the most lackluster, so I'll go first. I kept playing Arkham Asylum. Still loving that game. I could play that until the cows come home. It is just so much unbelievable amount, just a crazy amount of fun. I'm a little more than halfway through it. I just beat down. Actually, Paul, you watched me beat down Killer Croc.
Yeah.
And I got dicked over like twice. He just appeared, and then my batarang would lock on. That drove me crazy, but we got through it. It was fine. And just
I remember that fight. It was so intense.
it's so intense, but it's so slow.
Well, yeah, it's such a weird fight. I was watching you do that, and it's just like the pacing is so bizarre, and it's not really
weird,
like
yeah.
action. You're just kind of like waddling through the fucking
Tiptoeing.
sewer, waiting for Croc to pop up, and then you're like, ah!
And you hit it with one batarang, and he
One
falls
battering,
over.
and he's like, oh shit.
It's really odd.
But if you
They
don't,
definitely got
it's
him-
like he gets you in one shot. You're
Right,
like,
yeah. And
Yeah,
then he
yeah.
just hugs you. He proceeds to like want to hug
Yeah.
you a lot.
He just
Yeah.
wants a hug.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got through it, and we're having a good time with that.
Like,
And in
do
need
you
of
like wet
just
hugs?
Ew.
Yeah.
God, this got dark real fast.
No, thank you.
Anyway, so in need of just something lighter at the end of the week, I played a bunch of Super Mario Party, and I mean a bunch of Super Mario Party. Game's great.
Nice. Really?
It's the first time I've ever played a Mario Party game.
Okay. That explains it.
I think that Mario Party is great as a drinking game.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
I
so it
can't
would be a
imagine
better
it would be-
drinking
yeah.
game than. Here's the thing: Mario Party is, to me, is like the video game equivalent of Monopoly, in which every game ends with you like fist fighting a family member. You know,
Right, that's why I'm playing it by myself right now.
right.
My wife got it for me for Christmas with the intention of playing it with me. She's like,
Mhm.
okay, this is a light enough game that I can handle it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
She's definitely not a gamer, but I'm like, oh, This
So
this game could cause fights.
I have codified the rules for this. Here's the Mario Party drinking game rules. Whenever you lose a coin, you take a drink. Whenever you gain a star, you take a shot. You play short games, so like 15 turns, and then whoever is the winner at the end of that gets to add a rule. So like you start light,
just like kings in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Kind of like. Do you remember, Adam? Do you remember the game King Mao?
Yeah.
The card game. Do you remember
Yeah,
the fucking rules to that game?
Oh my
god.
God.
I remember you weren't allowed to say.
You're not allowed. There's 5 rules you're not allowed to say.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the only rule that you can really say is that you play it like Uno, right? And then there's 5 rules. I don't remember the 5 rules. Is the
I don't
problem.
either. We played
And
at my
then
bachelor party,
when
and I
you
don't
when you
remember
win, you
anything
add a
after that.
rule. Yeah, dude, I used to play that for hours and hours and hours, usually during study hall, actually.
Wow.
But I can't remember the fucking rules.
Yeah. Well, do the same thing with Mario Party.
Yeah.
Noted.
That's
And
the
I
only
will,
way I'll play it, I
I'll
think.
attempt that with my wife at some point, and we'll let you know how that goes.
All right.
That does sound good.
So that was my week for gaming.
Cool. Adam, did you play anything?
Yeah, so I'm chugging through Immortals Phoenix Rising.
That game's the name
the
of
worst
that game
name.
is terrible.
It's the worst name.
It's a good
so
game.
bad. It's
got a
great.
terrible name.
I think that it is what Breath of the Wild aspired to be.
Yeah, I think that the combat in Breath of the Wild feels a little bit better, but other than that, every other system
I
is
disagree.
better. Really?
I hate the combat in Breath of the Wild.
I don't like that the attack buttons are on the
Here we go.
the R.
I remapped them. Like I just wanted to.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Like that was the first thing I did. I was like, no, I hate this. Like Dark
it's
Souls
weird.
games do that too, and I don't like it. Drives me nuts every time. But yeah, so I remapped those, and I like it is great. It's so good. The problem, one of the problems. Well, there's many problems with Breath of the Wild. One of the primary ones is the breakable weapons, and there's none of that. The other one is that it is just like a ragdoll physics engine. And so like if you get hit by an enemy, sometimes they'll just go flying and you won't be able to get up, and you'll just keep rolling down a hill and taking damage until you fall off a cliff and die. That doesn't happen.
Do you know what I'm loving about this right now?
What
is that?
2 weeks ago, we made a promise we wouldn't turn on Breath of the Wild anymore.
We did.
Hey,
We're like,
shit.
no more shitting on Breath of the Wild on this show. We're not going to do it anymore. First thing Adam does when he comes on. Dude, have you played this game? Fucking sucks.
Anyway, like Phoenix is great. There's a lot of good unlockables and a lot of good puzzles, and I really like it. I recommend it. I also started Cyber Shadow.
I'm reviewing that game today.
Cool.
I love it.
Game looks rad. I can't wait to play it.
Yeah.
And I've beaten a couple bosses, but I also played a little bit more controversial game that I could talk about, but I'll say that till the end of the show, maybe.
Sure. Yeah. We can do that. I played Cyber Shadow, which we'll talk about in a little bit. I really enjoyed it. I'll go into depth when we hit the review. I played a little tiny bit of Skyward Sword today, which was fun. I really like that game. I've never beaten it. Actually, this is my first actual playthrough, and I'm just taking it ultra slow. I literally only play it when I get the chance on weekends, which is rare. So I played a little bit of that today, but I do really like that game. Or at least what I've played so far. I'm about to hit the second dungeon. So, what else did I play this week? I also played a little bit of Immortals Phoenix Rising. And I agree with you for the most part on that too, Adam. Like I think
switch those buttons.
I do need to switch the buttons, but the game's really fun. The dialogue is corny, but like it's kind of fun corny.
It is
And
fun, corny.
the fact that it like continues to keep the story rolling like is good, you know.
But
There's other
but you're
games that are
getting
very
story-
similar that we're not going to mention that don't do that at all.
Right, but like even if you're just like, oh, I'm gonna go get this pickup that's just like a little bit of a little puzzle and a chest, like it's tied into Greek mythology somehow, and Zeus and Prometheus have something to say about it, and it like tells you a little bit more about like what Zeus is starting to feel, because it feels like, at least to me, light spoilers, I guess, that Zeus is starting to feel remorse over being really shitty to everybody, especially his children.
Right.
And Prometheus is kind of like pushing that in his face. And like every place you go is kind of like the folly of Zeus.
Right.
It's pretty rad, I think.
Cool. Yeah, I agree. Cool. So before we get into the review, Adam, it's been a million years since you've been on the show.
Yeah, welcome
Why
back,
don't you
dude.
tell us what you've been up to, what you do, the whole bit? Give us a little bit about yourself, and then we can launch into that review.
I mean, where most people know me from is I'm the co-creator and primary artist for the Sentinel Comics line of things. The most recent announcement being the definitive edition of Sentinels of the Multiverse, which is going to kickstart in March 30th.
Yeah, March 30th.
Yeah, Zach knows better than I do.
Yeah, well, I've been fielding questions on the Citizens Discord about it.
Yeah. But yeah, so I did about 400 pieces of art for that over the course of 5 months last year, which is intense.
They look amazing. Oh my god.
They look really cool.
They're all like period accurate for when the cards are. So like if a card happened in the 60s, it looks like it's a comic from the 60s. So that's what I've been doing, and that's
another of your products hit the store shelves this weekend, and that's the RPG Core rulebook.
That's right, it did.
I have to stop at the store tomorrow.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, I have to go into work tomorrow and deal with that.
Yeah.
We're closed, and I was like, I don't feel like it came in yesterday, and I was like, I don't feel like dealing with my boss. I'm gonna go in on Monday. He's not there.
Smart.
Yeah, but yes, okay, yeah. So we did the Sentinel Comics RPG. We just released that. It's a tabletop role-playing game, a la D&D, but a lot different.
Some would say better.
It's better.
I would say better, but
it's yes.
Yeah, nice, man. Very cool. Very cool. We're excited to have you on, man. It's been a really long time since we've had you on here. It feels good, man. It feels right.
Yeah, it does feel good to be back.
Sweet. We ready to get started on that review? I played Cyber Shadow this week, and I really freaking enjoyed it. So let me jump into that real quick. Game review here. Okay, cool. Boom. Cyber Shadow. This game is amazing. How do I start? Let me give you just kind of like a rundown of what the game is like. It is, on the surface, you would think it's like a Ninja Gaiden style game. Definitely like what I thought it was going into it, but it's a whole lot more. In fact, I would actually venture to say this game is closer to a Mega Man game, like Mega Man Zero, let's say, than a Ninja Gaiden game. Very clearly inspired by both, but the more you play it, the more you really feel those kind of Mega Man inspirations. It's not quite a bullet hell, but it definitely gets incredibly hard towards the end. Yeah. But all around, I think that the balance of the game is pretty good. When I first started the game, I was really worried that the upgrades and such that you would get would kind of make the game too easy. But it doesn't. The kind of power level, the difficulty scales really well as you go on. So even though you become incredibly powerful, you also have to deal with incredibly difficult obstacles. So I think they balance that out really well in the game. Weird. Anyway, let's move on. So the Cyber Shadow is the title. It was developed by Arn, Mecha Skull, Hunziker.
Is this just a one guy game also?
I think it is. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I don't think it's a one guy game because when you see the credits at the end, there's more than one guy.
Okay.
There's also more. I don't know that information's correct because there's more people that worked on this game. It released on January 26th, 2021. That was this year, just like last Friday it came out.
Yeah, it was like a week ago.
Yeah. I played it on PC, but I own it on Switch as well. I played it on PC because I could play it for free because it's on Game Pass. If you have Game Pass, you've got the game for free. But it's
just installed it.
Yeah, it's on everything though. You can get it on PlayStation, you can get it on Xbox, you can get it on PC. And it's very good. The game is $20. If you pre-ordered it, it was $15 though, and that's why I have it on the Switch, is because I pre-ordered it on the Switch.
Nice.
But I figured it'd be nice to have it both, you know. And since I could get it free on PC,
one I'll probably revisit. Also, like I'm liking it a lot so far.
Yeah, very much so.
It looks like I'll play this one about as frequently as I play Zero, which is quite a lot. So
yeah, it's so good. So just a quick synopsis of the game. You are a cyber ninja. You're some ninja dude that like shit happened. You died and you got resurrected in a robot form, and you're trying to figure out what's going on. As you play through the game, you get here. I'm gonna skip forward in the gameplay because I was doing a bunch of like sit-ups and stuff there.
Oh yeah, that's right.
This is from my stream. Yeah. So like as you play through the game, you discover more of what's going on. Like it's very much. And this is another reason why I would compare it to a Mega Man game, is because the story is very like Dr. Wily created these things and so on and so forth, right? I'm not going to get too into it. It actually has a pretty good story. And what I found out when I was like looking up some information on it the other day, they only included 25% of the lore. That was in this game. They only included 25% of the lore.
So
and there's tons of lore
on the cutting room floor?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and there's tons of lore in this game, I'm telling you. So it's pretty cool. It's not the deepest story, but like if you look into all the lore, it's pretty cool. It's a lot of like conversations and things with the different characters in the game. Which is very cool. What did I like about the game? It plays incredibly well. It is gorgeous. It's kind of right up my alley. I love Mega Man games. I love ninja games, and this kind of feels like both. So yeah, it's really good. What I didn't like, there's not much I didn't like, but if I was gonna say one thing, and I mentioned how well it controls, but there's a caveat to that, and that caveat is this game was clearly designed to play like a original Nintendo game. It's got 2 buttons for controls, right? You've got a jump button and an attack button, and then your D-pad to move. And so even though you unlock a whole bunch of different abilities, those end up becoming like button combinations that you have to use in order to execute those skills instead of having it like mapped to a certain button.
Yeah.
The only way around that, I would imagine, is you could probably set up like macros on your controller or something like that. But to me, it's not worth doing. Once you get used to the abilities, it flows pretty well. But I will say this: I got stuck on a level and then a boss for a considerable amount of time yesterday, and because of the necessity to like do these weird combinations with the buttons, my thumb is numb. Like it's still numb today.
I've been there. I've had games that have
and
done
it felt like bruised yesterday as I was playing.
And which controller were you using?
I was using an Xbox controller.
Okay. Oh boy.
I should have probably used like an 8-bit DOE or something with like Not that the Xbox controller has a bad D-pad, it's a fine D-pad, but I think that it was just a little harsh on my thumb. And
Yeah, I'm
Sure.
using the
whatever.
PlayStation 4 controller,
Yeah.
and it works really well.
Yeah.
With the D-pad on that, because the D-pad on that is separate buttons.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Which I really like.
Yeah, I probably should have done that. I do like the D-pad on the PS4.
Yeah, I would echo like a lot of what you say about it. I think that the only like I'm very early also, but the only thing that I've run into that's been like kind of a sticking point for me a little bit is that there's a bunch of special moves that use your special meter.
Yeah.
And when you unlock like the uppercut, it like shoots fire up in the air, and then there's like a stab down one that lets out a little explosion. There's not a way to use those without using the special meter and making it the good version of the move.
Okay.
So like you deplete your energy really badly.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, when you had mentioned that actually in the Discord before we went live, and I was
Right,
like, well, you can still use the techniques.
Yeah, you can always still do it, but like you're out of energy by the time
you're right. I
get
see
through
what
this
you're
stuff
saying. Okay, yeah, no, I actually agree with that. Like, if you could like make it so that it's not special, like even though you have your special meter available to you,
right?
Then that would be cool. But here's the thing: like, if you're watching the gameplay right now, the item that I have just continues to spit out special for you, and so what that allows you to do then is as long as you're playing perfectly and not getting hit, you basically will have unlimited special, which is pretty cool.
Sure.
So and those items are available pretty frequently.
Yeah, I like the upgrade system for the most part. I wouldn't mind some of them as like pickups a little more often, but
yeah,
that's the one thing. Like from watching you, Paul, I didn't quite understand how the upgrade system worked.
Yeah.
So I'm interested. I'm excited to find out.
Okay, well, I'll explain it to you. Basically, as you progress, you unlock new skills from like certain areas, like certain meditations and stuff. Now, as far as like your HP and your SP meters, there's essentially there's two ways you can upgrade those. Like your HP will upgrade at certain points of the game anyway.
Okay, that's good.
Or you can find secret areas, and every time you find one of them, you'll get like one little orange orb.
It's like a third piece of heart, basically.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so once you get 3 of those orbs, you will then, get more to your HP meter. And then the SP it acts the same, only it's just 1 blue orb. So
Oh, nice. Okay.
So yeah, and I don't think I found all the SP ones. There's a ton of secrets in this game. That's another thing that I really like.
I did find the Ninja Turtles reference.
I saw the screenshot of that. It looks so good.
I was actually thinking this game plays a little bit like the first Ninja Turtles game too.
Oh yeah, actually a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, and which a lot of people hate because it's so hard.
It is hard. That is
but
true.
But like this is clearly a fusion of a bunch of games that this dev really liked.
Yeah, definitely. You can see that for sure as you play through. I would say the strongest influence though is Mega Man though, as you play. What were you gonna say?
Yeah. Well, it's just interesting to see us coming off of my review of Jay and Silent Bob last week, which is also a fusion of a whole bunch of games that somebody liked very clearly, but done very poorly, where Cyber Shadow is really good.
Yeah.
It's exactly the opposite.
Yeah, I agree. So what else? Where are we? How was the art? The art's incredible. I'm a huge fan of pixel art, and they do an amazing job of like making like really gorgeous 8-bit goodness.
Well, so one of the things that I'm noticing watching this now is because I thought also that it was just 8-bit, but they do a thing that animation does. Whereas they have 16-bit backgrounds. They have too many colors in the backgrounds.
Right. Yeah.
But all of the foreground sprites are 8-bit sprites. So like if you look at Disney movies, old Disney movies, a lot of the time you'll notice that the characters are really flat and the backgrounds are like really densely painted,
Yeah.
so that they stand out like that. So I think that this was an intentional choice, and it makes your character and it makes the enemies really stand out from the background.
Yeah.
Which is
I don't
amazing,
know that
really smart.
I don't know that the foreground bits or foreground sprites are strictly 8-bit color, because
I don't think
especially
they
toward
are
the end of the
either,
colors
but
that are
I
not
think that's definitely
in
the
8-bit palette.
inspiration. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
But it definitely looks, it definitely looks that way. And it looks intentional.
It's close, if not, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And obviously, like you can see in this level where I'm at, like it's clearly not 8-bit. But
yeah, like that ninja dude that you were fighting toward the end and 2-rounding consistently before you died at the boss.
Yeah.
He is definitely not 8-bit color.
Right. But regardless, like it's very like it's meant to feel that way. It's meant to feel like a Nintendo game, and it very much does feel that way. And they do a really good job of that. And I think blending those like techniques gives it a really unique touch that like even though you're playing a game that feels very retro, it still also feels like a modern video game.
Yeah, I think that
definitely.
I wanted to say that it looks like we thought Ninja Gaiden looked back in the day. Like, you know, like,
yeah, but obviously way better because Ninja Gaiden kind of looks like ass, but
back when Ninja Gaiden came out, it looked awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so like this looks like we thought Ninja Gaiden was.
Yeah. Definitely. And I think they pulled that off really well. The music's
absolutely.
really good. Again, kind of like that 8-bit goodness. What's really cool, I guess this is kind of a spoiler, but not really because it's just music related. When you beat the game, it starts in with the music that you've been hearing the entire game, and then like they kick in with like electric guitars and stuff, and it just
That's cool.
It's rad. It
It's
sounds
super
really
awesome.
good. So like that ending is nice. It's a very nice touch with the music. But yeah, it's great. Like they did a really good job of capturing that feel from your childhood, you know, with the music. Sound design, again, the same, like 8-bit sounds throughout the entire game for the most part. And it just really fits the setting.
You know what I thought? Like as I was playing it, I was like, this sounds a lot like Batman the Animated Series on Game Boy.
Yes,
Yeah,
it does.
actually, yeah. Which I love. That's one of my all-time favorite games. It's the first game.
Is great.
Well, I guess technically the second game. It's the second game I ever owned on Game Boy, right? Like I got a Game Boy, it came with Zelda, and I actually wasn't allowed to like we got it right before we moved to Kansas City from Denver.
And I got Speedy Gonzalez when
and I picked up Batman the Animated Series for it, and then like I wasn't even allowed to play the Game Boy or that game until we got on the road, which was a bummer. But anyway, yeah, brings back memories.
Absolutely.
But yes, was the game difficult? Abso-freaking-lutely, the game was difficult. Like I said, I got stuck on a boss for a very long time yesterday. In fact, my plan was to finish up this game real quick and go right on to another game yesterday when I was streaming, and I got stuck on this game for the entire rest of the day.
And hours, like you went long yesterday.
I did go long. I was playing for 6 hours yesterday. I was live. So yes, it's very difficult. It starts out pretty easy, but the difficulty ramps up considerably towards the end. Would I play a sequel? Hell yes, I would. It's really, really fun. And if they make it as good as this game was, like hell yes, I would absolutely. I love games like this. Very worth it. How long did it take me to beat? 12 hours total was I think my runtime. I think you could beat this game a lot quicker, assuming you don't get stuck on the last 2 screens like I did.
I'm betting speedrunners will do it in about an hour.
Oh, probably. Yeah.
I don't know if you could, because the reason I say that is, well, I don't know. Maybe I don't think you could traverse all the screens in like even speed running. Maybe glitching.
I'm betting I'm betting you we'll see sub 60 times.
Yeah.
But
I guess
once
there
they
there
start.
is a sub 3 hour according to Chamali, and he beat it
Oh, there's
in
an
6 hours
achievement
and
for
30
that.
mission. Oh, there's an achievement. Gotcha. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if
speedrunners
there's
will
an
definitely be under an
achievement
hour.
for sub 3 hours, I'm guessing that like the early speed runs will be around 3 hours, maybe a little bit less.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just don't think that you could traverse all the different screens in under an hour. There's a lot.
Yeah, that just seems like a lot.
see.
But
Yeah. But anyhow, it's a good game. Overall ratings and impressions. My rating for this would be gosh, I don't know, man. A 9. For what it is, it's amazing. The only reason I wouldn't go higher than 9 is because of the difficulty and not even the difficulty. The difficulty you kind of expect from games like this, right?
absolutely, yeah.
It's really just the 2-button control thing that
Mhm.
that got me. Which I understand why they did that. They were, trying to hit that kind of like period appropriate feeling with the controls. But I think to a degree it hinders the game, and that'd be my only real complaint about it. So that would be it. So I mean, still overall, really, really high score on this one. I definitely, if you like retro style games at all, pick this game up. It's worth it. It's worth it. If you have Game Pass, there's no excuse. There's absolutely no excuse.
It's worth noting that everybody on This Is Difficult currently got excited about this game.
Yeah.
And Adam. And I can't speak for 4Gs because I haven't talked to him
I've
in a
been
while.
Yeah,
I've been telling Adam
I have
about
my
this
eyes
game
on this one
for
a while.
years. Like I've been like, hey man, keep an eye on this. Like this game's right up your alley because you were like a huge fan of The Messenger, right?
Yes.
This game like felt very similar to The Messenger.
Yeah.
I like this better than The Messenger, but I would imagine some people like The Messenger better.
We'll have to see. So far, I feel as though I had better control over my character in The Messenger.
Yeah, and that's
we'll see how that progresses, but
sure.
By the end, I did feel like I had like true mastery over that.
Right, because they don't
mechanics
like
in that
lock
game.
you into 2 buttons in The Messenger either.
Yeah.
So.
But like this game, Cyber Shadow just seems to fire on all cylinders for all of us, which is so cool.
Yeah, it's great. I like it.
Yeah, it's absolutely rad. Let's see. Is there anything else I want to mention about this game? Is it worth buying at the current full price? Absolutely. It's $20. I don't think that's too much to ask for a game of this quality.
No,
that's
But
very
you can
reasonable.
also, like I said, if you have Game Pass, you already have it.
Which, if you have PC or Xbox, why do you not have Game Pass? It's the best gaming deal that there is. It's so good.
That's true. I
Just
agree
got
with
it
that as
last
well.
week.
I
have it.
Looks like
I have it. It's good. It's so good.
looks like they have an hour 13-minute speed run. So right now is the record.
Oh my god. People are crazy, man.
Yeah.
Zach has question WRT
I do.
upgrades.
I had a question.
Let's hear
In the Mega Man Zero game, so we've equivocated Cyber Shadow to Mega Man Zero on a number of times here. One of the big decisions that you have to make, especially toward the end, is what tool. Like you've been given this arsenal of tools.
Mhm.
What tool do you choose to, most prominently in my mind, traverse the Neo Arcadia Tower?
Mhm.
And for me, that's Z-Buster and Shield Boomerang.
Sure.
But I've seen plenty of people do it with just the Z-Saber. Is that the kind of decision that they have you make in Cyber Shadow as well? Is like you have this arsenal of tools, pick X number of them.
So no, kind of. Here's the thing. You don't, unlike this is where it differs from Mega Man. You don't have to only pick certain things to be using at a certain time. Like as you unlock your upgrades, you just have them available to you always. Now, later in the game, there's definitely 2 techniques in particular that are absolutely 100% essential to master. Those 2 techniques are the dash attack and the aerial
The
attack,
downstab.
the down stab. You have to learn how to use those moves 100%. Otherwise, you're gonna fail this game like I did for hours. Like you absolutely have to know those techniques.
Noted.
Yeah, but you do have access to every technique as you earn them.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
That's very cool.
yeah, it is.
And it's just
very
because
cool.
of those button combinations, yeah?
Yes. Yeah.
Nice. That's
Um,
fantastic.
Yeah. So that about wraps it up. Do you guys have anything else you want to share about the game, or any final thoughts or questions?
No, I'm
No, I
just
can't
looking
wait to
forward
play
to
this.
playing it more. Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
I played it for probably about an hour or so. I beat a couple bosses earlier today.
Mhm.
And I love it so far. I
Yeah.
also felt like the bosses that I did beat were really rewarding.
Yes.
Like, every boss I've met so far, I died the first time,
Mhm.
and then, but in doing so, I'm like, okay, I see where I need to be,
Mhm.
And then I think the first boss I beat on the third try, the second boss I beat on the second try, like that tank thing, that you have to destroy the pieces of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I have no complaints so far. I like it.
Yeah.
Good.
It's fantastic. I absolutely love it. Cool. Very good. Let's that wraps up the review. Let's get into our topic. I think this
Yeah.
topic's going to be really good for you two in particular.
Yeah, absolutely.
Me not so much. I'm not like real creative when it comes to character design or anything like that, or even like in a game where they offer a character creation engine. It's not really what I spend a lot of time doing. I do one of two things. Actually, let me just tell you what the topic is, and then we'll get into it. The topic is game mechanic deep dive character creation. Okay, probably could assume that by what I was getting into. Typically for me, what I do is I either random until I find something that looks enough like me, or just like something that just is passable. Or actually, I guess I have three different techniques. I make it as ugly as possible, just for the memes. Like when I played Red Dead Online, I just made the fucking ugliest guy I could possibly make. And then the third option would be I'll with as minimal effort as possible try and make my character look like Guts from whatchamacallit. What's that anime?
From
I'm drawing a blank.
Berserk.
Yeah, sort of the Berserk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are my go-tos. So those are my three techniques. But what about you guys? Like we have kind of subcategories, but tell like on the surface.
Right. So what I do, I have a few different ways that I go about this. So if I'm able to, first of all, like I play about half games male, half games female, just about. And most of what my decision is based on is the voice acting. If I don't like one of the voice actors for like the male or the female, then I'll go like, I don't want to hear that voice continue.
That's fair.
Like, that's most of it. There's also like another aspect of it that's like, I'm going to spend 80 hours looking at an ass. I'd rather it not be a dude's ass.
Oh my god.
That took me a second to
That's
register.
hilarious.
Oh my god.
But there's an aspect of that. But yeah, and then I'll scroll through all the options, and I feel like the number of games that have good options for dudes is diminishing. Though also like they have like just really stupid options, and it's like
really
trendy
limited
stuff. Yeah, or like really trendy hairstyles for kids, and like and I'm like, no, I want to look like a badass. If I can't look like a badass, then I'll look like a hot girl, and that's fine. So that's like my primary, like my primary calculus in initial character creation. From there, it's like, what am I doing in this world? I take a lot of time character creating. Like Mass Effect is like usually like 40 minutes I spend on
Jesus,
that.
man.
Yeah, no,
Dude,
for
I've
real.
seen you.
Like,
I've watched you sit down and create a character,
Yeah.
and you go into so much detail. It's insane.
Yes.
It
Souls
hurts my
likes-
mind.
Souls games are
Souls
so
games
hard
those are
to
the
get a
number
good-
one ones where I do guts. So if you're not playing a game like a Souls game where you're running around with a giant fucking sword trying to look like guts, what are you even doing? You know?
Well, yeah, those games are so hard to make something that looks good.
Mhm.
yes.
Like, I don't know why they made it so difficult, but
Because
for
their
those-
engine was shitty. Is
yeah.
really-
Well,
yes.
yeah, I mean, making the best of a bad
Yeah.
thing, I guess.
But you can it's actually surprisingly powerful. Like if you put the right sliders on, you can like make virtually anything. So like my Bloodborne character is Christopher Walken.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That I managed to I was like, wait, this is starting to look a little like. I was actually going for Willem Dafoe. And
And you ended up with
I
Christopher.
was-
I mean,
I
that's
was
not
like,
a far
no,
departure.
I'll keep going down this route.
Did you do the voice like as you played through the
that's-
game where you do?
Yeah,
walking?
well, I mean, I haven't gotten past the first boss on that game. I'm really bad at it. But
Yeah.
yes, I'm just like, werewolves. What's the deal with that?
Oh
Why?
my god.
For what?
Oh my god. That's fantastic.
Oh, go to bed, Steel
Yeah.
Zephyr.
What else? What else?
So Mass Effect is the one that I spend the most time. Definitely spend the most time, and that's coming up on my stream very soon. As soon as I finish Batman, probably, or it depends on when the remasters come in. Anyway, but most of the time, like if I'm streaming, I get really frustrated with character creation. I streamed Sentinels of Freedom, and it was like, make your character. I'm like, I don't. This is boring. Like for me, this is exciting, and I can replicate exactly the character that Adam drew for me. And if I had the time, if I wasn't trying to be entertaining, I would dive super deep into that and like manipulate it just so to make exactly the character that I want to play. But when I'm being entertaining, I'm like, I'm just gonna hit the random button and go. Like this is fine. I don't necessarily feel any more or less invested in that character if it's exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. So like, if it's just, I can tell you for sure, I felt more invested in Mass Effect than I have in Phoenix,
Yes.
for example, because Phoenix is, you have like a pretty limited number of options. Like they're good options, but you could also change them whenever you like.
I
And
think
so,
Phoenix was
like,
designed specifically to have a female protagonist, though.
the voice is a lot better and the choices are a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
But
Even
either
when you look at
way-
like the items and stuff, like when you see like a piece of armor or something, it's like the female set, you know.
Yeah.
So I think it was originally intended to
very
just have
possible.
a female protagonist.
But I also like, I've been doing a thing with that where it's like, oh, I'm going to be doing stuff in Ares realm, so I'm going to look like all warlike and make it look like, so I'm going to like theme myself, because I could keep changing it. I'm going to theme myself with whichever zone I'm in.
So I'm playing this I've been playing this dumb mobile game. It's a Harry Potter game for a very long time, and they give you
That is dumb.
it's really stupid, but it's got a really good story, so I keep playing it.
Nice.
Yeah.
How weird.
They give you hundreds of options for clothes or just visual representation, and I'm just like, this one kind of looks nebulously like me, and now I'm never going to change this costume ever. Like there are a lot of people who play the game who are like, oh, I changed to this costume for this thing, and I'm going to change to this and this, and I'm like, why?
Yeah.
It doesn't change anything at all.
So the most I've ever gotten into like aesthetics in games is actually in Destiny. Surprise of all surprises. And that's where I was going to go next. That's basically like number one. I made my Guardian look as close to the Mandalorian as possible.
Yes,
Like
you did.
that's like was my number one move. And then after that, it was like, what silly color scheme can we come up with? You know? So like
No, we
each
did some great
season we
ones.
did like a Super Nintendo color scheme. We
The Super
did
Nintendo one was my favorite.
that was a good one. What other ones did
The
we do?
traffic cone.
We
the
did just
orange
traffic
crayon.
cones. Yeah. We decided to be just like an orange crayon because we were playing Titan that season, and so Titans are crayon eaters.
They're
So
the
we
crayon
wanted to
eaters.
look like a orange crayon.
Wow.
And then we did
And-
like our whole clan was dressed in orange because I only had the one character. I had my hunter, and I would just outfit her to be whatever.
I remembered where I was going with that. So like I compared Mass Effect and Phoenix. Neither of those characters I've gotten as attached to as Kratos.
Yeah,
Sure,
like,
right.
I was gonna say
because-
the same thing. Like, Go ahead,
If I'm given the option to create a character, like I want it as robust as possible, but I don't know that it's possible to create the same narrative for a created character as it is for an established one.
I agree,
Right.
100%.
Very, very true. I'm thinking of Marcus Phoenix from Gears of War.
Mhm.
He is so iconic, and you could give me all the customization options in the world. I would never have more of an attachment to, I'm going to say, Delta Squadron.
Well,
all
what
four of
about
them.
your home skillet from Mass Effect? I know a lot of people that are super
Shepard.
attached to Shepard, but
Shepard,
can't
yeah.
you customize how you
Shepard.
look as Shepard?
You can,
A
and
little bit. You can change your face. And that's
Yeah,
basically it.
That's
but the
it,
body
okay.
and the build is
Yeah.
all the same.
Oh,
So
okay. Yeah, because
And
I
the
was
voice is
gonna
all the
say
same, too.
the exact same thing. Like one of the sub questions of this topic is, do you feel more invested in a character if you've made them yourself, or if it's
Yeah, I
made
almost
for you?
always feel more invested in an
I feel
established
way
character.
more
Yeah, me too.
invested in Link. I feel way more invested in Samus. I feel way more
Mhm.
invested in Kratos. Like than any character that I've ever
Right.
created. There's never
Well,
been a
Definitely.
single character that I've created that I felt
Yeah.
really invested in, except for maybe my Guardian. But even then, like
But is that because of the writing more than the? Because it's like written once you have that establishment of a character backstory that's written into the game in that way.
mhm.
I feel like
writing personality, like yeah, I mean, I feel like when you have just like a nebulous character that they're trying to like have you like create your own backstory in your mind, create your own, like
right.
that doesn't
And
like it gives you a lot of freedom, but it doesn't like most of our imaginations aren't as good as like a well-written story, like,
or we
Well, I
just don't
think
have
that-
the depth of knowledge that the devs do.
Sure.
I could care less where my Guardian came from, but I want to know absolutely everything about even the Hivebusters characters that I was talking about
Yeah.
last week. Like
Mhm.
they are so much more interesting to me
Yeah.
because I know that the devs put that time
Right.
and money,
Right.
time and
Right.
energy
I
into.
would say though, like if you have an established character, like that's going to be stronger because they have a clear personality.
Mhm.
If you don't, if you're coming into a game like if you were coming into a game like I don't know, like a Fallout or Kingdoms of Amalur or even like no, not The Witcher. The Witcher has an established character. A game like The Witcher, right? If you don't have an established character, you better have character creation
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
at that point, like or like a Grand Theft Auto or like Saints Row. You
Sure.
know, like I don't really care about any of the main characters from any of the Grand Theft Auto. Like I cared about Nico a little bit,
Yeah.
but like if I was playing Saints Row, the third one, and I could just go wild with my character creation, I got more into that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you're better off with a character creator than like a generic character. If that
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So unless you
Um,
have a real good character, have an engine.
Chamali put a good example in the notes here. Neo 1, there is no character creation. You are a set character.
Mhm.
Neo 2, which is technically a prequel to Neo one, I
Mhm.
haven't actually played yet because the PC version comes out next Friday. I'm very excited about that. But Neo 2, you have a character creation. You're not a
Mhm.
set character.
Right.
the question is having character creation or lack thereof in a game a higher selling point? And I think what you just said kind of sums that up pretty well. Like if there is no established character, you had best have a character creation, right?
Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
there is an
Yeah,
established character, I would prefer not. In fact, like though that's the one thing I'm not excited about for Neo 2. Neo 1 is awesome because not only are the characters really well done, but they're all real people. They're all actual historical figures that existed during that time period, and it's really cool. Neo 2 does that, I think, for some of like a lot of the NPCs, but the fact that you aren't one of those characters, I think is kind of takes away from it a little bit.
Yeah.
So like I wanted to play as a character, like whether or not it was William from the first one, like even though this is a prequel, they could have done a different character that was still a historical figure from that time period, and they didn't, which is kind of a bummer to me. But from what I hear, it doesn't, like honestly, I hear Neo 2 is a better game, so I'm still excited. But that part of it kind of was a little bit of a letdown to me. So I honestly prefer, like you said, if I would prefer to just have a character, right? But if there isn't, then yeah, sure, make a character creation,
See, I feel like if Phoenix didn't have some sort of character customization, like that would be a detriment to the game. Like it doesn't have a super robust system, but like if you didn't have some way to customize it, I would feel like you're playing as someone with the serial numbers filed off. You don't really have a whole lot of personality,
Right.
So that's
yeah. I don't know.
No,
I kind of wish,
completely
like,
agree.
honestly, like I said, you're talking about Phoenix Immortal Rising.
Yeah.
So I honestly think that Ubisoft should have stuck to their guns and just made the female protagonist. And
might be. They might have just done better to make a fully.
So I read
fully
something
character for
recently, and I don't know how true this is, but like a former like lead there was pressuring, pressuring creators to either have the protagonist be male or include a creation for both of them. And they shot down a lot of female characters, which, I think is silly to kind of like focus on something like that
anymore.
I feel like you shouldn't give a shit or focus on things like that. And in that sense, I feel like the intent for that game always was to have a female protagonist, and because of whatever policies were in place at that time, they included that character creation. I wish they would have stuck to their guns and created just a more distinct character.
Yeah. We heard a lot of shitty stuff about Ubisoft last year.
Yeah, we did hear a lot of shitty stuff about Ubisoft last year. So I think that's what kind of influenced that decision. Yeah, Odyssey was the same way as Assassin's Creed. Yeah.
Yep.
And yeah, because I think that what was the female's name in that, Cassandra or something like that? It's very clear, like from the people that I know that have played it. GTG Bigfoot in there. Said Cassandra. Yeah, I was. Yeah. Anyway, that she was intended to be the main character, but you still have a choice to be like her brother or whatever. So I don't know. It's whatever. But I prefer if the game has the vision to like create a character, like stick to your guns, make that character. You know?
Right.
If it's gonna be something like more like, I don't know, like MMOs and things like that, like RPGs where you don't have like there isn't really a written story for that character, then by all means make your own character, put a creation engine in there. But like if you've got a story to tell, is particularly for your character, stick to your guns and just make a good character. Doesn't matter what they are. Like
I mean, there are writers looking for work everywhere.
Yeah.
Just hire a writer, they'll come up with something good, and you go to town.
No. There you
Jamali asks if you know, in games that have cosmetic gear. So this is a bit of a hard left turn, but we did touch on this. Do you wear worse gear because it looks better? Yes.
Yep.
100% yes.
If something looks stupid, I'm like, I'm not wearing that. I don't care what that buff that gives me.
There's a bit in Destiny and Shadowkeep where you have to put on some very specific gear that looks like doo-doo butts in order to get into a dungeon. And I was like, I will put this on for a fraction of a second.
Yeah.
And then switch it off as soon as I can.
Yeah.
As soon as I'm.
Destiny's been getting better with like. So Destiny's been getting better with their gear customization. They are going to implement a full transmog system in the future. They haven't yet though. But one thing that they did do, I agree. I think so that's a long story we don't need to get into on why it's not there yet. But there's basically, like, long story short, they're kind of slowly rebuilding the Destiny engine. And so they have to kind of rework a lot of systems before they can do things like that. But what they do have now is a universal ornamentation system. So if you have an ornament, which are different from your armor sets, you can put that on any armor set. But you can't, like, I can't, if I've got this one armor set, sans an ornament, and I want it to, like, it's a piece of shit, but this really good armor set that looks ugly, I want it to look like my other armor set. I can't transmog that yet, but it is coming.
Even if you could, like, destroy the old one to make an ornament of it, that's worth it.
I think that's probably what they're going to do with the transmog, I would imagine. I'm not entirely sure, though.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Like, I just remember that wandering around in that horrible gear. Just being like, I look so stupid. I look like I'm dressed for fencing with like gold accents.
Was it that moon gear? Like
it was the moon gear. Yeah,
that stuff was so ugly.
It was so hideous.
So ugly. Yeah, but it was like the best armor in that.
Oh, it was
point
so
of the game.
good.
Yeah,
I was very close to having a Mysterio costume in that game.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. But yeah, I typically, like, I strive to look as good as I can in that game. But
again, that's like, we don't get much of the personality of the Guardians.
Right.
Way more like in tune with my digital clothes than my real clothes.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too.
I mean, there's a couple of things that I know, you know, where they are, and that I feel good when I'm wearing them most of the time. Yeah, my video game avatars tend to be much better dressed than I am.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, for me, like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm with you guys. Like, especially in Destiny, it's hard, especially like anytime a new season drops, like, you're forced to wear whatever garbage armor that drops if you want to, like, have a competitive edge on the content. You know, because it's just too expensive. Yeah, I think it's a really big problem with MMOs, and the fact that Destiny, that's like one of the downsides to Destiny embracing their more MMO side of things slowly, is we suffer from a lot of those consequences. And honestly, it's got me not playing the game right now because
I haven't played since
a lot of the systems. I hope that a lot of these things will be fixed in the future. I know that there's a lot of plans for Destiny and there's a lot of quality of life stuff that's coming. But as it is right now, it's, even though there's good content and there's fun content, like the struggle and the grind and the stupid MMO bullshit that I have to put up with to get there is just not, it's not good enough to make me want to spend that much time in the game right now, which really bums me out because that's been my favorite game for the last, like, fucking almost 6 years.
That's
you know?
Yeah. And we had a good time playing it, but boy.
Yeah.
I played it for a little while there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of the best memories that I have are when the three of us plus Chamali and Candace and Merktool running around in Iron Banner.
Yeah.
None of us, you know, overwhelmingly good, but
I mean, I was pretty good.
Gosh darn, we had fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, any other things you guys want to talk about when it comes to cosmetics and character design?
I don't think so.
Let me spin this a little bit.
Go for it.
Adam, you are a character designer.
This is true.
By
For
all accounts, yeah.
not for video games, but
Yeah.
for your card games. What what kind of processes do you go through when you're creating
jeez.
a character for a game that you're
That's-
going to sell?
Honestly,
Well, there's
the
an easy
whole-
out here,
whole
Adam.
Show.
There's an easy out. Just plug the letters page.
Yeah, I have a whole podcast devoted to just that.
Okay.
So if you want
Let me-
hundreds of hours of insight,
Okay, let me
Yeah,
rephrase the
bet-
question then. Why
a
isn't there a
thing.
character in your game designed after me?
Is there not?
There sort of is. Yeah. The character that you were in my comic became Ambuscade. So like there's a few things that's like, okay, I have this character, it doesn't quite fit with the world that we've created, and that was one of them. I mean, we need a character to do a specific thing, and your character also looked way too much like Deathstroke.
Are you talking like the old comic that you used to make when you lived at Pizza House?
Yes.
Dude, that
yeah.
comic was great. I
Yeah,
really
there's,
wish
like-
you had that and you could like. Do
I
you
do
still
have
have
it.
it? Dude,
Yeah, I
you
have
should
it.
put that out. I'm not even kidding.
No.
There was some
This is a whole
funny
can of
stuff,
worms.
dude. There was some
I have,
really
like-
good stuff.
Mm-mm.
I know you're not proud of the art. You've evolved a lot since then.
There's also like I can get canceled by putting that was I made that in college, so
Yeah. I don't know. There's some
we're not gonna be doing
maybe
that
maybe
anytime soon.
maybe filter through and put some of the good stuff out there. Like cuz dude, there was some good stuff, man.
That's like, yeah, I was going through those strips actually and sending them to Pete and being like, yep, that one is my whole life down the drain. So is that one and that one. So,
I don't know. I thought it was fun.
no, I mean the superhero one though that I was doing for a while there that had everybody in it. I would say 60% of those characters are in Sentinels now,
Mhm.
also. So
Cool. I don't know. I feel like that's a cop out, Ambuscade, but I respect it.
all right.
All right. All right. Cool. Well, do you have any clothing thoughts?
Yeah, so I want to mention the other game that I just played through at this point, which is actually like an adult game.
Mhm.
There is a safe for work mode in it. You can play it safe for work, but it is a Metroidvania. I'm always playing at least one Metroidvania. I always have one going.
Mhm.
And it's called Midnight Castle Succubus, and RPD got it for me for Christmas, and it's fantastic. If it is like if they made Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest and they made it without all the confusing bullshit that's in Simon's Quest. I really recommend it from a gameplay standpoint. Whether or not you have the adult stuff on is up to you. If you're under 18, turn that off, kid. Don't be.
Behave.
Yeah. But yeah, that's I highly recommend it. It's also that is actually true 8-bit through the entire
Yeah.
game also.
Nice.
So that's all.
I forgot to mention a game as well earlier. As far as games we played this week, the demo for Balan Wonderland came out this week,
Oh.
and looking at that game from the trailers, it looked like a really fun game. It looked like, just a cool platformer. I played the demo and I did not enjoy it. It was kind of a bummer. Two major things that really bummed me out about the game. Number one, the controls just seem for a platformer, your movement seems really limited, and how they mitigate that is you can get different costumes that give you different abilities for movement, but they're not that good and they're not that fun. And then the other thing is the game made me motion sick.
Oh.
Ooh, that's
Yeah.
always the worst.
So they do this weird reverse scrolling thing. So it's kind of like, instead of how if you've got a globe, as you go over the horizon, it rolls this way. Well, it's
Yeah.
almost like a concave globe. So
Oof.
as you move forward,
Oh.
it's coming down towards you like this.
That sounds
don't
like
like
the same
that.
effect as you know how they do God, and I'm blanking on the technique. How in old games they'll do like multiple layers and they'll stagger the movement of them.
Yeah, like parallax.
Parallax, yes, parallax
Yeah.
scrolling. Thank you. There's some games. I think maybe Arrow the Acrobat did this. I think there's a few games back in those days that did it the wrong way. So like they would move this way or they would move faster the further you went back, or and so like it was really, really disorienting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds
I
like
just
a similar
remember
effect.
watching. I remember watching Paul play Chex Quest and then going back and doing it myself and just mawing down Ginger Chews.
That game made me
so motion
that
sick.
game made me motion sick too. That was weird.
That one hit your entire chat. Like all of
Yeah.
us were like, "Oh my god, what
Well,
the
here's
hell is going on?"
I think the reason that game did it is this. That game was designed two things. Number one, it was designed way back in the day on like a Doom engine, right? So you're not
Right.
actually supposed to be able to aim like in all directions.
right.
But since the remake gave it mouse control, you could, and it was too fast.
Mhm.
Like what I ended up having to do, which kind of mitigated it a little bit, was like drop my sensitivity way down.
That's what I did.
Like
also, yeah.
way down. But still it was making me a little sick. It was a bummer. Yeah, it just wasn't very well designed, I think.
There's also like some of those things, if it's too crisp,
Mhm.
then it will look not right to your brain there because there's no depth of field.
Yeah.
And so that'll
Yeah.
screw with your brain too.
Yeah. So back on Balan, I was going to do a preview for that game. But here's my preview. Don't play.
Don't bother.
I don't know if the final product's going to be better. The demo was very much not enjoyable. Like it just seemed like a little too dumbed down when it came to the controls, and also like it had a very childish aesthetic, which doesn't bother me a lot. Like Mario does that, and it's great. There's
Sure.
plenty of games that have a childish aesthetic, and they're fine. This just was weird. It didn't feel right, and then also it just like the controls were not great, and the motion sickness thing was awful. It just made for just a really like unenjoyable experience. So that's my preview. I'm not even gonna like do a whole thing on that. But anyway, any closing thoughts before we end the stream, guys?
No, I think we covered it.
Excellent. I'm Paul Ryugami-san. You can find me. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Chamali posted all the things. If you're watching the show right now, you're on my Twitch channel. I stream on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Random games, whatever I'm playing through at the time. And then on Saturdays, I always play a samurai game. It's Samurai Saturday. And then, of course, the podcast on Sunday nights with you fine gentlemen. And if you want to yell at me on Twitter about something, Ryugami-sama. If you're watching this on YouTube, please share it. That's all I really ask. I mean, likes and subscriptions and slamming the something is fine, but really just share. We want to get the word out.
Talk to people.
Exactly. And that's about it for me. Adam, where can we find you, my guy?
You can find me on twitch.tv/comics and coffee. I also have a Etsy store that I sell stickers and junk at etsy.com/comics and coffee. You can follow me on Twitter at GTGAdam, or also at Ink and Grounds. Is my other art. Yeah, I don't have a regular streaming schedule right now. I'm trying to spin that back up. So, yeah,
cool.
That's where I am.
Zach, where you at, man?
I'm on Twitch at Another Letdown. I stream video games on Thursdays. I believe this is a Gears of War week. Tabletop simulator board games on Fridays, and miniatures painting, sometimes with Adam, on Saturdays. That's been a lot of fun. I am on Twitter at DENONCZD. And just as a final little reminder announcement thing, be sure to watch both my channel and Paul's channel this coming February 13th, 2 Saturdays out, as we will be hosting This is Difficult versus the World. Paul and myself and Shamali and Broody Gambit are going to play Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the video game. And get as far as we can. I've been practicing. I've been playing a bunch of 8-bit brawlers, and we're all extremely excited about that.
I'm excited about it too. And just a final note: if you are a streamer and you enjoy this show and you would like to guest, we're strongly considering bringing on guests. In fact, that's I think our next step forward.
I'm a guest.
Adam's
You're
a
not
guest.
You started the show.
Adam's
Goober.
actually one of the founders of the show, but he's our guest tonight. He's really just filling in for Josh tonight, which we really appreciate. But we want to have our full cast, myself, Josh, and Zach, as well as a guest, and we'll highlight your content and so on and so forth, and we can just find out about you and network. So,
and it buys us extra time to play games that we're reviewing.
That's true. It does. Anyway, you guys, stick around. We're gonna raid Mendari, and that's about it. Everyone have an awesome night. Thank you guys for joining us. Goodbye.
Take care, everyone.
All right, we will raid in 7 seconds. And goodbye.